Very much, gentlemen. Yeah, SKT doing exactly what I think a lot of people expected, right? They're showing their strength in the first game on the stage. Very safe to say. That's not the boldest statement that I or anyone on this desk will make throughout the course of this tournament. But let's jump right into it. I'm going to come to you, Spawn, first, because I know you have some strong feelings about the way the pick ban went for SuperMassive.
Yeah, and I said the biggest thing I want out of SuperMassive is to show that they've covered some of their weaknesses in their draft, but they obviously haven't. They completely ignore Graves and they pick up Gragas instead. And the thing about the Gragas pick is you just can't do anything against Kindred. Can't get deep vision ever. In fact, you went a Red Smite instead of a Trackers. Like, there is just nothing you can do in the early game. And against a team of the caliber of SKT or any of the teams in this tournament, if you have an irrelevant jungler, unless you have a great flash body slam gank or something like that, until you're level 6 and team fighting starts happening, it's just not going to get it done, guys.
No, and I mean, you won't suffer too much because you're just kind of farming. It's your top lane instead who's going to die like 2 or 3, 4 times because you're just going to dive him. Kindred is perfect at that with her own ulti as well to survive the last tower shot, and very little you can do as a Gragas, but also as a top laner when you have no jungler, basically.
Yeah, and we did see kind of the contrast, the difference in play or individual skill in that same matchup was played out between Kikis and MMD, and it went the other way. Here, Duke getting the better end of it, even though he's playing the Echo in the Echo Trundle matchup. But Clement, I want to come to you. Given what Spawn has just told us, right? They didn't make the change they need to make in order to expand their jungle pool. Well, that's not something they're going to be able to do in 24 hours. Yeah. You know, for the remainder of the tournament. So then, what is their next step? How do they cover that weakness if they can't pick up the new champions?
Well, I think for SuperMassive that they got a huge nerf from the Poppy. Like Dumble Dodge really wanted he played a lot of Poppy support, and the way you want to do it is he brings the Thunderlords and he wants to all in you early, and I think SKT showed a lot of respect in that. I think the most important thing about ban picks in this game is the confirmation that yes, Faker indeed plays his Rise. He didn't play it at all in Spring, but it was banned against him. And the second thing is that Karma could possibly be a flex pick for SKT. This is the first time we saw Wolf play it as well.
Yeah, I think that SKT actually were really smart in that regard, and they played kind of a bully lane as well, with like Ezreal Karma so strong at level 1, you're going to shove anyone off that creep wave, and you always get it pushing. The thing that we always say about Ezreal is like Lucian Sivir, they start pushing him early because he has no AoE. Karma gets rid of that problem. I think the other thing that we'll learn about IWC is if they have to pick these weaker junglers, how good are they at getting early vision and lane swapping? Because that also might be really key. We talk about hiding junglers, you know, playing one side of the map, getting the swap back, being able to take down turrets. Gragas can actually, with quite high base, you know, you take 15% attack speed, can actually push quite quickly. I think that is something that they can use to maybe cover at 1 or 2 games, but it's not going to work on a consistent basis.
No, it's always a risk, right? If you rely your composition on a lane swap. Both ways, honestly, look at G2's comp from the last game. If they didn't get 2v2 lanes, their comp would also fall apart in the early game. So that's always a risk in it. But also with SKT in their pick and ban here, they like to show picks which can kind of annoy you in future pick and ban phases because you're like, oh, Faker actually plays Rise now. Okay. We knew he would play the champion. He just didn't show it yet.
Right.
In the playoffs, they would do it with like a Zillion pick.
Against Jinag, yeah.
As an example, kind of showing it for future series. Karma support. A lot of support bans in this one, so it's kind of like what's the best option left. But still, again, you get a lot of confirmation. Okay, they actually have, of course, more and more champions in the pool, and it just makes teams consider it going into future pick and ban phases.
Right, and of course the Ezreal coming out when there were a lot of other higher priority ADCs on the table, but again, a similar thing, Bang just showing, hey look, I'll play anything.
I think Ezreal is actually like underrated by a lot of regions as a pick right now, because it's a very safe laning phase. He will rarely win the laning phase straight up, but you only need 2 items to become extremely powerful, and you will very often get it around 20, 22 minutes, and most of the games runs at least like 35 minutes, like on average. So you have still a lot of time where you are powerful. And it's something the Korean teams have picked up a lot on, like coming into the final of LCK. Ezreal was picked in almost every single game. And I think it is a smart pick. Also because SKT is a team who's not really playing around snowballing the first 15 minutes. Like they often play fairly slower in the early game, but very safe.
All right, well, notably then, I'm going to contrast this whole point, though, with the fact that Sivir, we haven't seen this champion come out yet. So, Clement, what are your thoughts there? I know NA has never been a big fan of the champion, but the rest of the regions have, and yet we haven't seen her in this tournament in the first 3 games.
Yeah, I think this is a huge point that kind of puzzles a lot of analysts because there's actually more Caitlyn players than there are Sivir players at this tournament. But most people actually rate Sivir tier 1. I think Bang is the one that you're really looking for this Sivir play. The thing about Sivir is if she gets a couple of the W procs on your backline, she just obliterates everything.
I think another thing is that a lot of these compositions have relied on flank and double teleport play and things like that, and Siva actually isn't that good in those respects because, you know, you have people coming in already to get on the back line. Sure, she has AoE crit, but she is quite low range. You know, she hasn't got a great laning phase in some matchups, so I think there are still some weaknesses with her, but if we ever see a front-to-back comp, if we ever see, like, you know, Maokai Azir, Siva is the logical choice in these compositions to just start it all up.
All right, well, there you have it. SKT starting off their tournament with a win. We've seen each of our contenders in this tournament make their debut here in Shanghai. Now it's time to test their endurance as they get back on the Rift, starting with our next match between North America's Counterlogic Gaming and the League Masters Series Flash Wolves. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Buy some time as Blank is looking to get away with his life. May not be able to do so. That's the first kill for SuperMassive. Archuk is taken down under the tower and Thuljan's looking for one more. Archuk has still got the chrono break. It's stolen! It's stolen for the third time today! A Baron steal is in effect. Is the final push, Jat, as SKT, the pre-tournament favorites, turn their attention over to the Nexus. They drop the Nexus.